This is Palmyra Network News.
Each day of the year, Amtrak's Broadway Limited travels across our country in two units, one westbound from New York to Chicago, the other toward the east from Chicago to New York. The run is made without fanfare, but on June 13th, 1987, it's different. The Broadway Limited will stop outside Lancaster, Pennsylvania for a ceremony to honor its 85th birthday. Robert Emerson of the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania.
This is the 85th anniversary of the Broadway Limited, which was put into service on June 15th, 1902 under the name Pennsylvania Special. So we've put together a turn-of-the-century era passenger train which will represent the special, and we've staged a meet between Amtrak's Broadway Limited of 1987 and the Pennsylvania Railroad Pennsylvania Special of 1902. And the trains will meet today, nose to nose, and there'll be a brief ceremony.
Lancaster County, the home of the Strasburg Railroad, is a hotbed of rail fan activity. The Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania, located across the street from the Strasburg Railroad, houses many steam, diesel, and electric locomotives, along with many, many vintage railroad cars. The Pennsylvania Special was the first name given the Broadway Limited in 1902. Then, on November 24th, 1912, the name was changed to the Broadway Limited, due to confusion with her sister train, the Pennsylvania Limited. Today, the Strasburg Railroad will use locomotive 7002, an Atlantic Type 442 built in the Juniata shops in 1902. This magnificent machine is similar to the motive power of the original Broadway Limited. It's been said she'll do over 125 miles an hour with her 77-inch drivers. In the Railroad Museum yard, the antique train is coupled for its trip across the street to Strasburg Station. This station, built in 1882, was originally from East Petersburg and was reconstructed here at East Strasburg. As the passenger cars are pushed carefully into position in front of the East Strasburg Station, a multitude of photographers save the day in pictures. And 7002 is standing by. In the spirit of the occasion, many of those on board are dressed in turn-of-the-century attire. It's only a sidelight, but the Broadway Limited was not named for the Great White Way in New York City, but for the broad way of steel rails from New York to Chicago. Weeks of preparation are about to pay off.
All aboard!
Today, the Pennsylvania Special has 4 cars, a railway postal car, and 3 passenger cars fitted with golden oak woodwork, stained glass transoms, oil lamps with brass fittings, and burgundy mohair or horsehair seats. The cars were built around 1896 in the Altoona shops of the Pennsylvania Railroad, and they were featured in a special transportation display used in the 1939 World's Fair. Next stop, Lemon Place Junction. The special steams past Eshelman's Crossing. This is Lemon Place Junction. Each day, many trains go by here, but they don't even slow down. 7002 approaches Lemon Place Junction. A large crowd is on hand to participate in this historic event. Ellis Bachman of the Strasburg Railroad outlines the activities about to take place.
Broadway is going to stop here for about 5 minutes. There'll be a brief ceremony between the two trains and some pleasantries exchanged, and both be on their way.
The passengers have detrained to see the ceremonies, and the Pennsylvania Special positions itself for the meet with the 1987 Broadway Limited. For the passengers and those who visit the Railroad Museum, there's an opportunity to purchase a special cover and stamp cancellation mark honoring the 85th anniversary of the Broadway Limited today. The conductor of the Broadway Limited joins the Railroad Museum staff, Strasburg Railroad officials, and officials from Amtrak. When the presentations are completed, the Broadway starts its 86th year, stepping out smartly for Chicago. Today, June 13th, 1987, has been a time to remember the glorious days of railroading. A time when little boys' eyes got as big as bullfrogs when the Broadway Limited came down the tracks. It was a time of rosebuds for the ladies, mints after dinner, and haircuts for 25 cents by the barber on board. The day, June 13th, 1987, draws to a close as the train re-enters Strasburg Station. But it is a day that will not soon be forgotten by those who participated in the 85th anniversary of the Broadway Limited. As we say farewell to the steaming days of the early 1900s, the Broadway Limited speeds passengers into the next century.
This is Palmyra Network News.